Right, I think we're all live everywhere now. Right then, let's get started on this. Strange. I was going to say that's a good way to start the stream. Strange. Yeah, I don't think I've done a stream for about, I bet it's been 2 weeks, hasn't it? Nothing but unexpected things every single time. I've been trying to come on stream 4 days in a row. Like literally since Friday, I've been trying to get on stream every day. That's that. Yeah. Hopefully you're doing better now. I've been okay. It's just Rusty stood on a wasp yesterday. I can only presume anyway. Was like lifting his paw up like this and just shaking when I come into him. So we've got wasp nest everywhere at the minute, like literally everywhere in the house. We've got one above here. We've got one by the front door, 2 outside. So been dealing with that for a few days. So, well, they're technically outside, but they make their way in, don't they? It's no good. That's crappy as well. Yeah, I'm just filling the house full of expanding foam everywhere, stopping getting in, and then just smacking them with baseball bats, like the pizza peels for making pizza. Where they just whack them with that. Probably check if this works, but I'm pretty sure these won't work. On the sofa in there, like on the white chair thing. Oh yeah, we had one right outside this room. So as soon as you go out the door here, we've got like a little wooden, well, I don't know what to call it. It's like a set of drawers and like a wooden little roof, just for hiding all like the water pipes and things. And there was a nest under there. So I burnt that with a propane torch. You know, wasp nests literally just don't set on fire. Like, you're basically cooking little wasps larvae when you do it. But the wasp nest is that indestructible. You sit there with a 2,000 degree flame and it just handles it, just sits there not burning. It's mad. So physically just destroyed that, stood on it, got rid of that one. And then I've got a veg plot that I don't use. Why didn't either of them fit? We had one in the ground in the veg plot. And then I got rid of that. And then I've got one up in, like, not this room, but above this room into the soffits that I can't get to. Then we've got one right outside the front door. But the thing is, our walls are literally, where's the camera thing? They're like, can't even see on camera, that's confusing. Yeah, they're like, our walls are literally wider than I can show you. The insides of our house is insane. We've got like a converted barn, so the walls are, I think the walls have got a 36 centimetre cavity, and then the bricks are, I don't know what stone they are, but some kind of ruined stone from a castle, I'm sure, it was built in 1881, I think. We got the original stones, headstone above the door. So inside the walls are ridiculous. When I have to drill a hole through for cabling, I have to go and buy a 1.5 metre bit to get through the walls. So in there we've had mice, we've had wasps. You probably got like a house party from Shrek in there, to be honest. You could walk inside our walls comfortably. So it doesn't help when you've got wasp nests, because they're probably ginormous. So yeah, basically been dealing with that all weekend. Hence the no stream again. Wow, that's just, I was expecting that'd be worse. It's actually pretty good. That was stuck together that hard. I thought it was going to be gammy inside, but that's not a bad game gear. That's pretty clean. Now it's time to kill the VDP. Right, what do we need? Let's go with... Oh, you wanted these buttons as well, didn't you? Every time I gut these, I forget. Do you want me to keep these buttons for you? Ooh. Well, maybe you don't want that button, but I'll keep the buttons anyway. I've got another one here. It's got a better button. Ow! Jesus, what have I just stabbed myself with? Yeah, that's a bad place. Hang them. I decided hang me probes over here. I just stabbed myself with that. Maybe move them back somewhere else. Wherever they're not going to get in the way now. I'm going to put them exactly where they were and stab myself again now. Put them over there for now. There we go. That hurt. I thought I'd got an electric shock then. It's no, just things hanging. I tried to move the camera angle as well, so I zoomed this out and then realised how messy everything looks. Watch this. So I put this on. I was like, we've got to fix that wall behind as well, but I was trying to sort of zoom out on this just to get a bit more of an angle and not just my face. But then I was like, oh God, you see everything. So you can then see the microscope camera, all my dangling leads here. I don't even know what that other lead is. The microscope, the mess. So maybe when I somehow get I don't know, a more organised desk, I don't know how I'd do that. We can get maybe a bit more of a nice view for the camera angle. But for now, you have to zoom in to hide all the mess, and then it looks better. So it's like, look at that, looks clean now. Just clean my room up. Oop, and then kick the Mega Drive. Oh, jeez, my own face. There we go. Right, so I didn't even explain what I'm doing on the stream. I just jumped in. We are, well, first I'm just building a re-PCB, and then I've got, in fact, I'll just give you all these bits. I'll just send you the consoles so you can nick whatever from them. After the Game Gears, we're going to be doing 2 Lynxes. Well, maybe one, depends on time. We'll try and do 2. One needs a clean screen, the other needs repairing. Yeah, I'll take this out. The Lynx, I don't know, I'm getting loads of people all of a sudden buy... Oh, never have enough screwdrivers. A lot of people are buying the clean screen for the Lynx at the minute, and a lot of people are asking for the clean juice all of a sudden. So, yeah, it just seems... I don't know where it's come from, but it looks like it's going to get bumped up on the priority list a bit because everybody's asking for it. It's not hard to do. The only thing I'll probably do is I'm going to trial a different nickel metal hydride battery charge circuit, because the one in the Game Gear, I know nickel metal hydrides are always kind of dumb charging in a sense. because they just kind of blind charge. Then they're not exactly as intelligent as LiPo. Is that it? Or do we have to take them out as well? Yeah. But I'd like to try and find a semi-intelligent nickel battery charger that has a bit more sense and voltage and things, because I just don't like the fact that you blind charge them, and when they're fully charged, it's completely safe, but they just sit there and pump out heat, because that's just how that battery chemistry works. It just wastes the surplus energy as heat. But it's just not, when you're used to LiPos, it concerns quite a lot of people. Like they think it's a problem. So I'm going to see if I can trial a different IC, make a new design, and obviously do that on the Lynx one. And then for the CleanScreen, yeah, I can just make, all I need to do for the CleanScreen is wire in the V4 Game Gear by hand, write a bit of code, and it'll work, because the way I've written the V4 CleanScreen already is universal, so I can pretty much plumb in the Lynx fairly quickly. Disk scratch repair, no, I don't at the minute. It's something I was going to go into, and then we kind of got rid of all games and went away from the game side of things. But I was going to buy I've got like the cheapish machine, I've probably got rid of it now, like the £600 machine, but it wasn't really that good. So I had to go to a couple of £1,000 machine for it to be good enough to offer it as a service, and then I just didn't bother. If there was enough interest, we could, but there generally isn't that much interest. Oh yeah, there's the thing with changing battery chemistry and changing products that people are used to as well. I think people are starting to settle into it now and know that they're safe, but it's just one of them concerns to begin with, because you go from LiPos that have a very controlled charge setup to, like I say, nickel metal hydrides that are much better for retro consoles, long shelf storage, ease of buying, replacements or spare batteries anywhere. Ooh, nice new sub. I didn't even see a sub come in. Oh, we've got a new sub goal. So it's like something that people would want is the nickel metal hydride, but it's like I say, you change anything that people are used to, and it's always fun to begin with. There we go. There's the sub. That's a resub, isn't it? I think, Hugo. I think I've seen you around quite a few times. Any jobs? Unfortunately not. We're mostly a family-run business these days. So it's, and even though we're busy, it's kind of the perfect amount of busy. It's like you overstaff, and I just have to manage more people, which I don't like doing. So we have the re-PCB here. And it's warm in here as well. Let me put the air, had the aircon on, turned it off for go on stream. It's already boiling. That's over here. Right then, I haven't done one of these in a while. When was the last time I murdered a VDP? But it's been a while. Yeah, that's the thing with LiPos. It's set on fire kind of danger, which luckily we've never had, other than the odd one failing and getting warm. But nickel metal hydride, same thing really. When people put the battery springs in backwards and you're dead short of nickel metal, it can get stonking hot as well, but at least it's not going to explode. So it's better for that. Dual crystal mod for Saturn. Possibly, yeah. I've just made I've just wrapped up the code for the super secret Mega Drive mod. I'm not going to show it off. I could maybe tease the manual that I've just finished making, because I don't want to announce it until it's out, because people will just copy what I've done, or even if they don't, I don't like to release information ahead of time these days, just because of the scene we're in. And it's nothing new as such anyway. What I'm releasing, there's already mods out there that do most of it. But this one is obviously me making it, and It's got all the goodness that I do when I make products. So let me give you a teaser of the manual at least, and I'll try and, I've got the prototype working, fully done, and I just need to make the physical PCB now instead of using off-the-shelf components. So we have, where is my PC? So I just made a little manual. Can't think of a name. This won't be the final name, I doubt. But basically, it's a mod that does everything in one go for the Mega Drive. So as you can see, it does everything. Region free, 50-60 Hertz mod, overclocking the CPU, on-screen menu, which is a big thing, which I'm really proud of. In one way I'm proud of, and in another way it's hackish as hell. Like the way I normally do stuff is much cleaner. The on-screen menu is a proper hack. Like no one's ever done it before that I know of, an on-screen menu for a Mega Drive mod. Like that isn't replacing the AV itself. So it's not like you're just replacing it with HDMI and making your own menu. This is injecting it into the VDP. So done that funky. Full master system control, turning the buttons from a 6-button or a 3-button controller. So every button works on the master system power base. Does loads. I don't know how much I want to kind of show you, but well, to be honest, I can show you the whole manual because I don't think it's going to give away anything about the mod that I don't want to give away. And I've just whipped this manual up quickly as well, trying to mess around with styles, make it look a bit retro, but it's pretty shit at the minute. It's just a rough manual. But yeah, it's got lots of cool stuff. So I'll try and get that wrapped up fairly soon. Got some Game Boy Shell with my logo. I'm not good at Photoshop. Okay. Yeah, if you want that, let me open up website, Retro 6. So if you go to, I'm making a website as well soon. I'm in the middle of making a designer website. I can probably show you that as well. If you go to design your own, there's this thing here, design time. Just add one to the basket at the same time as the shell, and then email me what you want. And this should cover me doing you a quick design if you don't know how to do it. And then, like I say, I do have I'm making a website so you don't have to know how to use stuff that comes with all the templates built in, existing designs, all kinds of stuff. Right, so let's get to solving this. First job, kill VDP, which ironically we will, because we're on 480, because that's what I've gone back to, right, 400. So if you're going to specifically take off this chip on a 2-chip Game Gear, thanks to many months and probably 50 plus consoles of me actually killing Game Gears, which is sad to think about how much money I wasted. This chip is insanely sensitive to heat, like insanely. The only one I've ever known. So it's not a problem for this. Don't worry about the CPU. I've got tubs full of CPUs because they never die. But we don't want to go near this thing with heat. Like, we want to very, very slowly warm that up. So I'm going to go around this. We're fine here. This will kind of preheat the board a bit as well, because the board will be pretty much stone cold at the minute. So I'm at the height of this cartridge connector at the minute, the hot air gunners. We go around there for roughly a minute, I'd say. And then we'll go closer for 30 seconds. And then it should lift off. And then for this chip, at 400, we should be able to just do it exactly the same, but because we know they're sensitive, I'm probably going to preheat it from underneath as well. Just a little bit. And if we kill it, we know exactly how it's failing anyway. So there's going to be no question if I've killed it or not, because it always dies in the very specific way. And we're also presuming this Game Gear works, these chips work, because these are non-working Game Gears I've brought. I reckon that is about. Thing is, with the aircon on as well, it actually does slow down when you're taking chips off, because the air's blowing straight down on me, so it does actually blow cold air in. There you go, just about off. Now for this one, I'm just going to warm up from underneath a bit. Just get the board in general warm. Yeah, if I got a JBC one, you got it with the internal probe that goes on the chip, and I've also got that. I brought that connector end, the nozzle for the hot air, but I just prefer not having to use too many different tools. And a technique is better than needing another tool anyway. So being able to use the exact same piece of equipment for all the jobs, so long as you've got the kind of skill for it, is better than having a custom tool for every job, I think. So that's warmed up from the bottom. It's already been preheated a bit by taking the other chip off. So now I'm just going to go around this, being conscious of we'll maybe try to lift this off a few times just to make sure we're lifting it off as soon as possible. Oh, that was easy. So hopefully that's alive. We need one of these as well. I forget this one. These are as well, I think these are not as sensitive to heat, but don't go blasting these like crazy. I think the Z80s, I've seen a few people kill, which I suspect is heat again, so probably a similar thing for this. Maybe go around the board as a whole, maybe warm up from underneath a little bit. But I don't know whether these are any more sensitive to heat. It's just if the VDPs find the usual next suspect is the Z80, they're the two that seem to fail, so I'm going to treat them as the same. And when you're used to them as well, when you do them, like I haven't done them in a while, but when you're used to them, that's why you can kind of lift off first time, because you get a feel for when they're going to be ready. I need this extension port as well. The best way I found of removing these is just hot air, fast and hot, and then bend off strangely. So just literally as hot as you can. Yeah, Rusty's all good now. He just, like I say, he'd lifted his paw in the air for like a couple of minutes. He's probably just a mild horse, to be honest. It was probably nothing even happened, but I'm suspecting he got stung by a wasp, but he was fine. He was chasing food after about half an hour, so that's how we knew he was okay. So I'm just going to put that in this clamp. So I've got a bit of force, and then the way I do these is just literally maximum hot air. So we'll go, well, 480, 120 will do. And then all you need to do is warm up these pins. And then I just grab like this. There's some kind of, I don't even know what these pliers are. I brought them for something. There's some kind of wire puller tool, I think. But I just use them for grabbing stuff. Oh yeah, I can't wait till I've made the HDMI to the extension port, so we don't even have to put them on them. Yep, so off, no damage, all the ports fine, so just literally as hot as your hot air goes, as fast as you can, that's what gets that off. And then I think that's everything. So you've got a free contrast wheel there. You can rob these as well, If you want, ooh, nice, tipped PLN10 super sticker, although the little pop-up thing's cutting off. Thanks for that. That'll be Rusty's treat. This, if you've got PC Engine GTs, rob this. This can replace the T9000, I think it is, on the PC Engine GT. So yeah, that's your board there. Anyway, you can have that with screen and chips and shell and everything. So now let's put this back on. Probably put that there actually. What do we do now? We will put the Z80 on first, I think. Let's go for that. And nice and close there. And then with the Z80, I'm going to... I tend to find it doesn't flow as good with hot air for some reason. I always find the Z80s, I don't know, the pins just don't flow nice. So I tend to solder the Z80 on and hot air the other things on. So we will pre-tin all of these pads. Actually, why have I pre-tinned them when I was going to solder it on? Never mind, we'll hot air this on. You don't normally pre-tin them if you're going to solder it on. Hot air it is. Yeah, not the little one, unfortunately. There's a little transformer that there's no replacement for at the minute. But the big one, yeah, it's the same. It's I wrote it on the wiki, the type of circuit that the backlight is. Or the contrast circuit is rather, and it's I won't say a Royer or a Royster. It's a style of circuit design that they both share similarities with. Turn that down. Right, so similar again, same as taking it off. Hover above for a minute, get closer and push down. The transformers on the PC Engine, not that often, but they're often enough that then if you don't have a spare, you tend to kill them when you're hot airing and doing a recap. That's when effectively you kind of kill them as part of the restoration normally. Clean power for Game Boy Color, need the version for the Game Boy Pocket. They're the same design, but they physically won't fit, unfortunately. So you won't get the board into the Game Boy. Oh, sorry, Clean Power. Oh no, ignore me, I'm thinking of Clean Juice. Yeah, Clean Power is exactly the same design, just a different shape. So you can use the Game Boy Color one in the pocket, same pin out, same, I think it's literally the same shape and everything. But if you can physically fit it, the only pins that matter, top right is input, bottom right is ground, top left is 5V out. See how they don't kind of reflow with hot air? Like they don't look good to me. They're obviously on, but I'm just going to run the iron down. Oh, got no flux. To Styriflux for a minute because I've run out of my solder king. You got some? I don't know if you use this Styri up at the same time. Oh shit, I forgot. When you're changing these as well, don't put this on yet. Keep that on until you push this in, because that kind of snaps into the groove and you have to push it, so you have to really lock it in like that. And if you're taking this off, that's all going to squirt out, and then pull back a little bit to relieve the pressure. Otherwise, when you take this off, it all squirts out as well. And that's that one set up. But I'm gonna make use of this because it's in the tub. This is what I used to use in between, and now I've used Solder King for a while again. I'm gonna see how it compares to the Styria again. Right then. So I'm going to reflow these pins. Like I said, they just don't look. They don't look like they've flown nice. So let's just go back down. There we go. And I'll just dab them. I'm going to be lazy and just dab the excess over there. One way of getting rid of the extra solder blobs, just chuck them over the other side. There we go. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think this is as good as Solder King. The Z8 is one of them chips though where it never looks good anyway. I don't think the solder ever flows on these pins looking nice. Nope, making a mess. I was trying just to dump the extra solder on that little cap and made it look even worse. There we go. So yeah, they're soldered on. I just don't like how it ever looks. I mean, you can even see the factory ones on these. I don't know, visually they just don't come across nice to me. I forgot to clean the flux off while it was warm. Mine clean enough. Now for, where are we? CPU, I'll put CPU on first so that the board's warm when we've hot aired it on, and then when we come to do the VDP last, the whole board is like nice and warm anyway. So let's get some flux on. That. It's a lot harder to push out this Styria as well. Like, does not want to come out the needle. You know what I should have done actually? Let me wipe that off. Let's do Solder King on the right, Styria on the left. That's how we'll test. Right, so purely just for flowing solder on the pins, but that's a good start to see. Obviously that pin will be ground, that's why I didn't want to take on that one. Okay, and then reworking it just to see how long it lasts. Seems to last fine. That's a nice flow. And now let's clear the tip off so there's no flux on it. And do the same again this side. I think that's actually eating a bit more solder because the pads are a bit bigger. Yeah, both performed, I'd say, equally as well there, really. They're obviously slightly different. There'll be slightly different thermal pads because the circuit design underneath is different. Like that top pad there is ground, so it's going to take more heat. and the pad sizes and spaces are slightly different, but for general rule of thumb, that is not bad at all. Let's try the other side again. Let's go down this one. Yeah, both doing okay. We'll see how they do at reflow as well, because reflow will be a different style and use altogether than soldering pins. Keep forgetting to blink when I'm staring at the screen. There we go. All one hit without having to reapply. And now we want to clean this off because you don't leave the used flux on. You want to clear that off and apply fresh now for the reflow. I'll just mute the mic a sec. Right, and so we've got stereo on that side. I'm not going to apply the flux on this side yet because it's going to melt and go everywhere. So let's hot air the CPU on. We need to make sure the writing on here is the same way as the writing on the chip. That's why I've done it. So Sega written down matches that written down. Oh yeah, the 1A6 are definitely harder to solder. So I'm going to put that on there. We will... Oh, I know what I've forgotten. The crystal for the 2A6. I didn't rob that off the board, but I've got spares, so... might as well just rob it off the board. Right, that's close enough to position. I think there's a pin bent down there, actually. It's not bent, but there's something going on. There we go. Just a bit of solder blob on that. Let's try that again. So you don't need to be super accurate with where they go. That's close enough. And then we'll go same again, about, I don't know, 1.5 inches above for about a minute, and then we'll go close in for 20 to 30 seconds. Ooh. Yeah, that'll do. When it's all molten, I'll nudge it into place. Ooh, thanks for the follow. Right, so when I see, if you look behind the solder, you'll see some of the pins start to liquefy as we go. So probably this pass, you'll start seeing liquefy, or just the whole thing just blows off and sticks wicked. So I was about to say you'll see it liquefy. Now we're going to have to get the whole thing liquefied. That's when I then go closer like this. So ignore the fact it's gone everywhere. I'm just going to get this up to temp and nudge it all back into position, because it's partially stuck. So see there? See how it's clearly see a trail of pins, and we'll have to get the entire set of pins up to temp before I can nudge this over. So it won't make much difference to the reflow, because you get the whole chip up to temp anyway before you take the heat off. But this is it's an extreme way of showing you that the position doesn't matter too much. There we go, so back into position. And now once it's mostly done, I chuck more flux on, and then I go over it once more and I push down. I'll go over this once more. And now I will push down, and this is the final pass. And I can say that doesn't look like it flows as nice as the Solder King. It's definitely going to be on, but there's no kind of bubbliness and the pins rounding and stuff that I'm used to seeing. So, and then when it's cooled down, give it about 15-20 seconds. Don't go on as it's stonking hot, just give it a little time, so about now, and then clean off while it's hot enough. Hey, welcome in. There we go. Clean while it's warm. So now we'll do the same on this side with Solder King. We will flux the pins. Better, got a fatter nozzle. There we go. And we will want to make sure that's on the right way again. Roughly in position. As you've seen, it really doesn't matter where the chip ends up, but let's get it somewhere like, there we go. The same again, let's warm up. So, yeah, I actually did that. I think the first one chip I did was, of course, the video I was showing off the JBC iron, and I think I was using leaded solder and a new iron and made it look terrible, like as if the iron couldn't do its job. But it was actually, one, it was a 1ASIC, 2, the legs were bent up in the air, and 3, I think I was testing out lead-free solder at the same time. So yeah, that's I think if you're using lead-free solder, you need to use proper equipment. So you want to use an infrared heating plate from underneath. The accurate nozzle that's the shape of the part you're putting on. With lead-free, with lead, you can get away with just hot air and stuff on like this. I don't think you can really do that with. I can't do it anyway with lead-free. Lead-free is horrible. And I'm still on 400 on the hot air as well on this, so let's go in close now. See how you can see that all them shining up now as you're going past. and there's the bubble starting to happen. And that's in position. So now the extra flux. Back on with the heat. And then this is the one where we want to push down, and we should see a nice reflow. So other than that one little pin there looking slightly sorry for itself, and all them deciding to join up when it cools off. See, all them just bridge themselves when it cooled down, just because it's ever so slightly misaligned. So we'll just tack them off. That was a crazy way of cooling down. They were all free and then they all joined up. So I think visually they didn't look massively different, to be honest, there, but I still saw slight more bubble on the Solder King. So they're both going to do the job. Right, while that's still warm, let's clean this off. Yeah, I wasn't really, with doing the work as well, I wasn't really looking too much at the screen to see if I could see it on screen bubbling, but I could tell it was definitely flowing a little bit better, if nothing else. But there's so many different versions of that Styriflux. There was one I used, I think it was just something like HF V3 Tacky or something like that, which I thought was the best I'd used until I switched back to the Solder King stuff. Let's make that crystal. Zoom out it. And where's the crystal? And 2 pins. Okay, hot and still. No, we didn't, not just yet. We're still waiting on the actual units to arrive. Like everything at the minute, everything's out of stock everywhere, so AC seems to be exactly the same. They can't even get stock of the units. I think they're due in a few weeks, hopefully. And when soldering this crystal on the 2 ASIC, leave it tilted like that, so it doesn't touch these. Otherwise, this metal metal can touch these caps. So just leave it kind of tilted like that, if you know what I mean. So it's not touching them. Hey, welcome from Texas. Right, so we should probably inspect these maybe. We've got to put the extension port on, but let's just do a pin check that these are actually decent, because I've not really confirmed that the solder. I mean, one way we can check is just to power it up, but let's have a look under the scope. There we go. So let's get the dental pick. Yeah, I don't even need to probe many of these, I don't think. You can tell, some of them you can just tell by looking when you're used to seeing them that they're definitely okay. That is just a bit of, I think that's part of my melamine sponge. I'd normally go down every pin, but like I say, I'm used to doing these and I can kind of see there, not even a question. Yeah, Rusty's good. He's I think I said at the start of the stream, I think he stood on a wasp yesterday was the only thing. We've got loads of wasps everywhere at the minute, so that's why I didn't get on stream at the weekend. But he's all good. What fat sausage? Yeah, they're all fine. VDP. Now there's a difference. Can you see the difference in that? See how the solder has flown up onto the legs on these pins all the way down? Compare it to that, where you can see the sharp edge of the pin. You can still see the sharp edge on there. It's like flowing much easier. So that is, it could be a chip difference, but the fact that the VDP has flown more of a fillet, as it's called, on these legs, that's maybe the difference in the Solder King. You know, really, that's what I'm looking for. That's the one I did with the soldering iron. But that, to me, next time we do one, if I do another one, we'd have to swap it round, do the fluxes the other way around, and see. You can see even the factory isn't as nice as ours. This is factory finish with the harsh edges. And, well, I say that. These pins haven't flown quite as nice, so they look harsh, but those are definitely softer. So maybe that's a thing. Or maybe it's just the fact that the way this chip specifically flows is going to do that with the other flux anyway. You'd have to do a A-B comparison. Yeah, the 1200 I got done. I just didn't end up doing it on stream, unfortunately. Just didn't have time, but it had. That was fun. The keyboard was obviously broke. The mouse was broke, and something else was broke on the fully working Amiga I had. So I had to buy a new keyboard. I've got the other one, so I can just repair it when I get time. The Gotek I had was the old version, so I ended up having to order another Gotek. I didn't have any of the 3D brackets for it, so I had to print them. The SD card I then made for the PyStorm, I think they changed the PyStorm part of the code, so I had to rebuild all that SD cards. It was a was a bit of a nightmare, but when it was all done, it worked ace. So that's now off to the States to the customer. I just didn't get time with streams to get onto it to show it, unfortunately. It was the plan to obviously finish it on stream, but that's how it goes sometimes. I've probably got another one in by now as well, because they're pretty popular. We get them quite often. Yeah, thanks. Definitely. It was I think with one of them, it was just, we had so much going on at the time, and I just wanted to get stuff out of the way. I'd normally potentially fix the keyboard up and upgraded the GoTech firmware and things, but it was an old order and an expensive order, and I just wanted to get it out of the way, so I just opted to just buy everything that I needed to get that out the door. We should have, well, technically we have a buy and sell channel in the Discord. We should probably have one for, like, I don't know, more for part sourcing, isn't it, than buying and selling? Because the buying and selling's now got people on there actively buying and selling stuff, but we should probably have one for when people are after, you know, components for retro consoles and things. Or I've lost a transformer to a Game Gear, does anybody have one spare, that kind of thing. That would have been useful, because people just ask on stream normally and I give them stuff, but that's a good place to have that kind of option for people that know if they're after spare parts. And that was the Stiriflux, I think, that one that I've picked up. So, like I say, both of these definitely do the job. Probably just more down to preference and availability and price. Oh yeah, definitely. It's I appreciate that. It's it was just one of them. If I have to go outside of my normal flow to do things, it's getting the time to, even as silly as it sounds, just to think about, I can just jump on now and buy something and get it sorted, versus arranging something new, having to have conversations, remember I've had a conversation, that kind of thing. I'm just sometimes I just get that swamped with work, bouncing between all the other, because obviously I don't just do the retro either, so bouncing between everything else, keeping things flowing and on top. It's always been a case trying to keep my time as free as possible, to be able to actually keep on top of everything I do. There we go, it's nice and clean. Yeah, Zach, funnily enough, Zach likes the smell of the Solder King as well, but I kind of said you're not meant to smell it. That's the point of the, you know, when I was buying this new fume extractor, which is, where are we? Keep this remote on top. So this fume extractor, obviously, which goes behind my TV down there that you can't see. This was like $1.50. It was a Walla. I went searching everywhere I could, because I've already got one. Couldn't find it anywhere. I looked high and low. And when I couldn't find it, I brought one. So that cost me £1,000. And then I got Zach one, because he should be using it for fume extraction. So that was, I got him like a £600 one, I think. So not quite as expensive. Sits on the desk. It's basically just a bit noisier. But for me on stream, I needed the quiet one. And then right after I brought them two, one Zach doesn't even use us. So that was a waste of 600 quid. And then two, I found the other Weller. So I've got another £1,000 Weller fume extractor now. So now I've got basically two fume extractors doing nothing. And I didn't even need to buy one in the first place. So that was fun. Yeah, that MG Chemicals makes me cough. I've used that. I've got a fluff in me. When I use that MG Chemicals, honest to God, I can barely breathe. If I get the slightest bit of that fume in my mouth, I'm literally coughing. I don't know what's in it, but yeah, I do not like MG Chemical at all. Just because of that, really. Like, it's unbearable. I cannot stand the fumes whatsoever. Morning. Were they going to be, let me guess, they're going to be game drives at the minute, are they? Everybody's buying game drives. I don't know whether there's stuff online at the minute, or, you know, a group of people, or just in trend, but we're selling some crazy amounts of, well, nothing massive because we don't sell that many of them, but compared to normal, the game drives by Retro HQ, we're selling quite a lot of Neo Geos at the minute. We normally sell probably, I bet we don't even sell 10 in 2 months of those. And we've probably sold 20 in this month, I'd say, which is more than we'd normally sell of them. So, and then Xbox originals, like you guys are going ridiculous on them things. I'm sick of building them. And then as soon as we've got on top, I've got another one for repair, and we've got another maxed out build they've just brought as well. See, I never use tip cleaner. I need new tip. That's why I'm using the Nano. We noticed on screen we've got the Nano because that tip, the knife tip, Zach's burnt out, so he had mine. So my full size fat one is the pointer, and it's not as good. And I just keep forgetting to reach out to JBC to buy some more tips. I wanted to sell the tips. I wanted to become a kind of distributor for them at the same time, even if it was just for the tips. But with them being a larger company, things are slow moving with them. But I'd like to be able to stock and sell the genuine tips. Yeah, I would not touch the MG chemicals myself. Oh, and I've finally got some ribbon cables made that work for the Xbox OG. I've got one there. So remember the flex ribbons I was making, and then that stream I did showing off the issues. I've now gone back to making these. So this is brand new. They look old school, obviously, but these are brand new. So we've got this again nice and supple. Made them just the right length so that they're not oversized and they don't fail, but then they're just stock original. So now I've got to make 1,000 of these. So these are prototypes. They've worked great. So now I like to order 1,000. But these work perfect, so that's ideal. And then I'll probably list them for sale at the same time. I don't know whether to list things like the SATA adapters and the Cebios mod shell chips and stuff and sell them, because obviously we have them for the consoles and we do them up, but we don't actually sell them. Xbox OG, is there an AES card for, not at the minute? No, that'd be cool. It's quite a big task. I do plan on making my own cards as well at some point. I already started making a Game Gear flash drive. I just ran out of time to get back on it, but there is plans for a clean drive, which will be pretty crazy when I do it. I'm going to have loads of things and features and all sorts, but I won't give that away until I, again, get around to it, because things can take me a long while to find the time to do. In fact, I'm not going to put that on yet. What do we do? Plug this in. And this is just, somebody's brought this pre-populated, so this isn't for a customer as such. This is literally just going fully populated. Speaker. And I think I've done everything. Got the 3 chips on. I'll put the wires on after. Plug that in. Reset. The noise is just because this is a temporary cable. I don't know whether this game works. We probably want to get Sonic. I don't even know whether this works either, so I just grab these out the tub. Let's try Sonic, which I believe works. Not sounding good, is it? Helps if that isn't hanging out. Maybe that'll be the cause. If not, we'll chuck a clean screen on and see if we've got anything on screen. Nope. Clean screen time. Oh, actually, where's that one I need to test? Oh, that's the old minute. That needed testing, I forgot. For Alex, but that's the old minute. Can't really test it. Got nothing plugged in. Oh, Lynx in it. I can test it on my Lynx when I get to that. No, it's the old Game Gear screen. But yeah, I'll test that on the Lynx. Got these little ribbons.
He was French, wasn't he?
Yeah.
The child.
He's having the Super Famicom.
Yeah, which don't. I'm just making sure it's definitely that
Yeah,
guy.
Gillian or Gulliam or something like that. Yeah, that's the one. My guess will be on this one. Z8. You watch, it'll be the one thing I say never dies. It'll be the CPU. But that's the thing when you're buying, obviously, you buy non-working Game Gears. And you don't know whether the chips, it's rarely the chips are dead on the Game Gears. So you've got a good chance of just buying a dead Game Gear and it working. But there's chances of it being your soldering, killing chips during transfer, loose pins, all sorts. But in general, the soldering went down fine. The pins look fine. We haven't really looked at the Z80 up close, I don't think. So next step is a bit of visual. Let's see if we can see anything on screen. But if we're getting no game load at all, it can be anything at all when there's like absolutely no game load. But there's sometimes a few hints. It's hard to describe. It's just my knowledge over years of doing it. How I diagnose what it could be. And there's also, it could just be as simple as that game drive, because I cleaned up my desk the other day and this could be a bad one. Like, it looks pretty battered. I think we ran out of stock, so I was giving packers all of my stock. And yeah, let's see what the screen does anyway first, because it might be obvious on that. But if not, I'd start by swapping the game drive. We have to show the cartridge pin cleaning process where you mentioned soaking in some solution. I've done it a few times. Like, I've done the physical bend and scraping stuff. The vinegar, I've done the vinegar on one. But yeah, I can show. Oh, that's an interesting one. Never seen that before. Can you see them flickery spots? Right, so what I'd do here to try and figure something out is remove them. There you go. What I do to figure this out is to just unplug and replug. That noise as well. Ignore this. This is my battered speaker. So I've kind of glued it in all around, but that's knackered. That's like not meant to be moving. So you see how it's all torn. It's all ripped from when I plug things into 5 volts and stuff and rag this. So this is I need a new one. So that high pitched squeal, you will get some, but that is a bit of noise. Oh, that's a bit of noise from here, but the ragginess of that is mostly that speaker. Let me see if I can get one that isn't knackered. Nick Zach's while he's not in. Zach's got 2. And of course the flat, because he doesn't turn them off. So we'll charge the speaker for a second. While we're waiting on that, I might as well solder them. Can I solder them on? I don't know. I've ended up with 2 boards as well. Spare board. Oh yeah, definitely. I've had another thought as well of what was I thinking? Oh yeah, you know my little technique of getting this. How is it? Sure, you've seen me do it many times. Plugging a speaker in, getting this, and then probing around to track audio issues. You know, so you can now touch this on and hear audio. I had another idea to, what was it now? There was a very specific case where I thought this would be really good to. Oh, that was it. You know, RGB. What was? Oh no, I've lost it again. There was a really good use case where basically my idea is you can hear digital noise on this as well. So if we I'd have to solder everything in. I won't prove it now because we'll go too off track, but you solder this into the board. And then if I was to probe around like the data pins, you'd hear the noise, because digital noise on a Class D amp, which will be in here, you'll still hear that, like, effectively what you heard, that kind of aggressive noise. You'll hear that probing around on digital signals to hear data, if you will. And that was it. When you're trying to fix like jail bars on Mega Drives and things, say, if you probed on, say, the clock that you think is the noise, like the chroma clock, you can probe on the clock and you'll hear a very distinctive hiss that sounds like a chroma clock. And then my idea was, what if you then probed around different places on the board or hovered it near the board going over? And I wondered, could you hear that crosstalk on the speaker as a kind of way to visually, imagine walking around the board like that and listening for that exact hiss to find out where noise is getting introduced into video rails. That was the idea I wanted to test. It's easier to explain, well, easier to show when I get around to doing something, but I don't know what made me think of that. I thought that was a really good idea. To do a kind of audible detection of digital noise. I'll definitely try that the next time we come to it. Right, what was I trying? I was just going to put this in for audio, wasn't it? That's all I was going to test. That got enough juice now for 2 seconds work? Yep, so that one sounds pretty much the same. This one needs updating though. That's got some... reset that. Oh no, it doesn't. It's fine. Oh no, that needs updating. I don't know whether I like that. I could do with maybe power. I'll tell you what, we'll power it from the clean juice first, because that should be better sounding. That's I'm not liking the amount of noise on that. I know it's because the USB isn't regulated, so if you use a low quality USB, well, not even necessarily low quality, but one that isn't clean on its actual voltage generation, you'll hear that noise. That port's only meant for a test like that. It's not meant for, you're not meant to run the console from that. So you kind of ignore the audio noise, because that's not how you run the console. You need like a clean juice to run it properly. And that's that one in. And we'll get this on. We might as well test it with a clean juice and a clean amp proper setup. And then we should be good. Should be noise free then. We would hope. Otherwise, we've got a problem. That went from Sonic to something completely different. I think that was Happy Days. Or Cheers. That was the intro to Cheers, wasn't it? I think. I don't know what I was humming. Now we can do clean juice. We'll start with clean juice and the headphone port. We'll make sure to turn off 34 volts, which it is. VREF is on, which needs to be off. And headphone in there. The alarm clock's out. No, it doesn't. There you go. No more noise. So that's for the clean juice. In fact, let me also check that noise on the screen is gone. No, so I need to upgrade the firmware, because if we look at this, watch the Sega. When the Sega noise kicks in, you'll get all noise in here. So that's not normal, but it could be the old firmware. This is in Zach's drawer, so this is likely going to be very old firmware. So let's upgrade it. This is the beauty of the CleanScreen. If we just get USB cable, one end into the I've set my tip cleaner off by putting my hand over. One side into the PC or Mac, the other side into here. Doesn't matter if your screen's connected or not. I think you'll get no GG on the screen after a few seconds. Yeah, so that's that. And now if we go over to PC, if I go to ggcs.cleanscreen, ggcs.retro6.co.uk, which is here, what we can now do is, where are my settings? Update to connect again, it's disconnected.
Alex could do with you going down there if you're free for like 10 minutes or something.
Yeah.
Something to do with the printers coming out like blue.
Yeah, I'll have a look and I'll wrap this up in a minute.
Yeah.
Right, this is old one. So this is actually a really old firmware. So if you get this where it disconnects and reconnects, unplug this, hold the button by the USB and plug in. Or you can do this if you ever have issues in general upgrading. If you hold the button, plug in, and that'll then show a Raspberry Pi on your computer, basically. And now on this side, click recovery mode, and my device isn't showing. I've checked those things, choose folder, basically, and that bypasses these checks. Then you select the RP2350 that shows, and this will do the upgrade from just bootloader mode, basically. So this is going to be on one of the very, very early versions. This will have been 4.0.8, I reckon. Just try restarting the printer and the PC first, and then potentially trying a different design. With that being tribal as well, just try and print on just black only, and that'll probably solve the problem for now. That's that. Right, we're done on there. Yes, I can see it. Choose folder. I don't know why I said just could see it. It's not there. What was I doing? Let me check. Can I see device folder? No, I can't. Back. No, try again. In fact, this might have now shown as a device. Let's just refresh the page. Connect. And see what happens. No, let's try and unplug. Maybe this is a bad board. That's why it's in Zach's tub. Let's do that once more. Device isn't showing. Select folder. Select. Then let's do that again. Let's charge the speaker up more weight. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it should. This should be fine in bootloader mode. I've got a feeling. Obviously, this is my standard cable for everything, so we shouldn't have an issue. But we'll see. This might be a bad board, like I said, I grabbed it from a tub. Do you know of them down there at Fucht?
What?
The CleanScreen from in that tub at the bottom, or just randomly in there. Mind you, we haven't really got any broken ones, have we?
Down here?
The one next to it.
These are all fine.
That bottom tub.
Oh, Game Gear, not a clue.
Because I know we've got them in a tub for a reason down there, and I'm sure I grabbed it last time and they were knackered.
Why is this knackered, the one that you're using now?
Well, it wasn't. I've tried to upgrade it, and oh yeah, that's the point. It was working because obviously I'm just trying to upgrade the firmware, and it's spodging out on me. Yes, it's got to be working.
These defo work like. Never mind.
Yeah, this is not. Or am I not waiting long enough?
Yeah, there is a working one here.
I don't know why I don't need to do the website because I can obviously dump the firmware myself, but just curious why that's failing. I need to maybe look at that. Yeah, interesting. Oh, well, I'll just do it myself, and I'll have to look at that website, make sure there's not a problem. Right, so that would be the way you upgrade. Well, that's the recovery mode of upgrading. Let's just see. Yeah, interesting. Might be my PC or cable as well. I'll do it. I'm gonna just put it back into bootloader. Let's do it this way. No, I wonder if I've messed the website up for the recovery. Oh well, I'll do it my way then. We'll go back to that in a minute, and I will just bypass all of my website and dump the firmware on for now. It's a good thing when you make it, you don't need to follow the website. 4.17. Dump that on. There we go. Right, so I've upgraded it myself, bypassing all the website. So now this should, unless there is a problem with this board, which I doubt, this should now show up. There we go. So now we've got the latest one. So I'll double check my site. Or like I say, it could just be this cable, but I don't really do recovery as such for myself, and I get logs when people do it, and people have been doing it and nobody's reported a problem, so it is probably just the cable. Right, so that's upgraded on there. We now need to unplug that and plug it back in. Presumably that noise is gone now. Well, it should do. There's no reason it shouldn't. And then, like I say, if anybody does get issues on that website, they can just let me know. But we've not had anybody reporting they can't upgrade. So I think it's just something I've done there, like more than likely this cable or something running on this machine while I'm streaming. Right, so game's in. We want to look at the Sega, and this time, of course, there's my protection for you. I've dumped on an unencrypted version, and that's the protection so people can't just copy it. Of course it is. Let me do it properly. It's good to see my protection stuff working though. So now, I wonder if I just use the website. No, it's not going to do it. I'll have to do it properly. There's me saying I can bypass my own protection because I made the code, and then it tells me I can't because it's protected. Let me give it permissions. Oh, that's a mess. I need to do that. I could actually do that as well. I could even get the actual GIF of that scene on. I'm going to have to do that. That's definitely something I need to do. But then let's see if that's fixed it. I just hope it hasn't burnt it to the flash to completely try to prevent me from doing this. Yes, there we go. Bypass my own security solution. And so turn off. Oh, whoops. Just did the thing I tell nobody ever to do. Don't plug in the USB cable while the clean juice is connected, because you'll burn the clean juice. But luckily that was quick enough that it wouldn't have got hot enough. You'd be surprised how many passwords are something to do with Rusty. Right, so turn on with the clean juice, and that should now go away. There we go, no noise. And let's plug in the audio. Try again. Oh, you know what? I know what the problem is. It's the test port. Again, you're not meant to use that for production. It's the fact that that is pulling ridiculous amounts of power off a low power rail. Again, test mode only. But at least it's got the latest firmware now. So that then... Oh no. Oh, well, that's interesting. So, do we have a timing? I mean, we can fix it with the software, but it's funny how it's only when you've got audio plugged in. And then if I turn down the audio, oh no, it doesn't. Weird. But if I unplug the audio board, okay, no, just complete fluke. Nothing at all to do with audio. Right, let's tune it for now then. Simplest way is going to be, this is something people probably need to know. If you want to plug it into the PC and you've got it on your bench like this, you can remove this little inductor here. So if I spin up my tweezers, if I can turn my tweezers on, that's the problem. I turned them off in my software. There we go, connect. Right, tweezers are on. If you remove this inductor here, then the USB cable, it's powered up here. The USB cable now going to the PC won't power the Game Gear. So what this allows me to do, without having to build it up in the shell, is to leave the clean juice connected, but plug this into PC on here. So you see how it's not powering the Game Gear up, but now I can turn that on and turn on the... Interesting. Yeah, this is definitely a knackered clean game slot. Have we got the new game slots yet, or are they still not delivered? I've got a proper dodgy one here. Freshy. So now we've got that on, we've got this plugged in with that removed. It means I can open up the GGCS website and do something useful now. So instead of it being useless, we go to here. We can now go to, for example, Capture. Oh, I've got to upgrade to Pro. Of course I have. Let me just bypass my security again. Let's upgrade this user to Ultra for free. Might as well. There we go. That is now upgraded for free, like magic. Ta-da. So now on here, I can grab a screenshot, like so, and just keep clicking and capturing screenshots. So that was if I show you, say, here, zoomed out, you can see Sonic, overlay the PC. I can like grab a screenshot now in the software and capture the screen. What I want to do though is I ideally want to see that noise appear, which I think happens more when this is plugged in. Yeah, so see all the noise in the snow and stuff. Unplug that. yeah, so see all that noise? Kind of hard to see. Does definitely do more with this. There, so see all the flickering green pixels in there you go, like on here. What I can do is go to on the PC. You can do this in the on-screen menu, but it's easier on the PC. Go to screen, hover over here, and you can change the clock phase. So we're going to go -4, and if I bring up, say, this and a PC at the same time, you can go crazy on the clock phase and nudge it out the way. So watch this in a sec. If I now move the clock phase all the way, like you can go way out the way. That's 12 nanoseconds. You can pull it back. That's 0. And now this is -4. And let's see. We'll wait. We'll plug that back in. We'll wait for Sega to appear. And let's see if the noise has gone. Which I'm guessing it will have now. There we go. Fixed. So I thought that should have saved as well, I think, actually. Let me double check that has. Oh, where's that? There we go. No, I didn't click save. Of course I didn't. So let's go back into PC software, -4, and save. Oh, it says saved. But if I turn it off, back on, have I broken my website completely? Yeah, my website's broke. We'll do that when we built it up then, so actually we can't. Do I do -4 and then maybe, I don't know, nudge it forward, nudge it back, go to settings. I thought I'd got to save settings in here. Coming soon. What can I do to trigger a save on this? I'll tell you what, I can open the on-screen menu as well. Close on-screen menu. Put scan lines on. Let's see if that's saved now. Turn off. Turn on. Yeah, so that's saved it. So now I presume. Yeah, there we go. So now if I turn off scan lines, turn off, turn on. I've definitely got a glitch in not saving the. Ooh, this has still got slight noise. Let's go to. We can adjust every phase. So on here, you can see we can adjust all the phases, the red, green, and blue. So we can tweak the phase slightly as well, which I'm surprised we need to do this because, I mean, that might be using that speaker. Let's put on an actual clean amp. Yeah, so with a clean amp in on full volume, the noise is gone. I think the thing is, the more you load it down with like powering this and adding noise back, you're going to affect the clock. So I think that's all it was, is the clock needing to be the -4. Yeah, there you go. And then just don't, basically if I plug this in instead of the clean amp, you'll probably get that little bit of noise back. So let's take a look. Yeah, it's not on there much. So, but either way, it's fully customizable by the end user anyway. You can just open up the on-screen menu on here and move all them clock phases into sync anyway. So it's not really an issue with, well, anything really. If the end user ends up getting noise on the screen when they come to use it, they can just open that menu up and change the clock timings. But at the 4 nanoseconds there, that's gone stable when you use it with an actual clean juice and a clean amp. It's just when I was plugging this in, we got that very rare little flicker that we saw a few times. So that should be good. Like I say, it's fully adjustable anyway if they see issues, and if it needs firmware update, I can fix that as well. But again, we've had no real reports of that clock noise for a while now since the latest version. So, and in fact, it might even be the noise is fixed on version 18, but that's still in beta, and I can't remember where I'm up to with that. So that shouldn't be an issue either way. Right, that we don't need. This has got a bad ribbon, so bin that. Back on there. I know one thing I forgot to do was streaming on TikTok as well. I've never even looked over at the chat of that since we started. And ironically, it's the first time they've not blocked us. Is that a Game Gear? Definitely. I don't know how long ago these comments are going to have been now. Morning Elite Geeks. Sorry for the incredibly delayed, probably hour ago comments. PS3 fat, we don't work on PS3 now. What flux we use, well, you probably see that now on stream. We got Sterry, and we sell Solder King. So if you want the exact one we use, it's Solder King on retro6.co.uk. Clean Power on DMG. Yeah, glad you like that. That's one of the most popular things for the DMG. People love that. I did a little TikTok on that as well. You'll probably see it in the pre-recorded sections where I showed off exactly how it works and it failing on the original regulator and stuff like that. Down there. Temu equipment for soldering. Never brought anything off Temu, so I couldn't tell you much about that. What are we doing? Well, we were just doing a re-PCB, so this is now effectively a brand new Game Gear in a sense. Everything's brand new on it but the original chips, so this is going to act just like an original Game Gear now, but with a brand new board. So that's for a customer. So that can go. In fact, there's a box for that. And you can buy these, so you can do this yourself. You can buy the boards and solder the chips on yourself, or you can have us build it like you've just seen. So that's now effectively a complete Game Gear ready to just plug in. I don't know if they need that or not. They probably want that to go there because they kept saying they're waiting on it. Yeah, I think they've got. I bet they need two. You know, I might have to build another. In fact, probably best just asking them. I'm sure there's two now. For Lynx, I've actually done if you look on Retro 6 Wiki, under the Lynx repair section, under Hayato Mickey, I've done all the swaps here of compatibility. It's about lost to check, of course it has. So I did have all this in here. And when I've moved it from the old wiki to the new, it's lost the check marks. Wicked. Yeah, I'm going to have to find the old wiki now and put them check marks in. But this is the compatibility table. I'm pretty sure. Oh, as you can see, it seems so long as the main text is not VLSI and Epic's called Mickey, going to an Atari branded chip, you are okay. Anything not in the list. So I think what I did on the test was this was not compatible, mixing VLSI and non-VLSI stuff. I think that's where I got to, but I'll find the old wiki and fix that. It's obviously lost in the conversion. Oh, there you go, yeah. The much less common VLSI don't work when mixed with Hayato variants, but if you swap them both, they'll work. There's also an LCD swap pin issue there, so that should cover everything you need to know on that. Let me carry on with the comments. I forgot to. Am I clipping on audio as well? I think I've boosted my audio a bit too much then. How do surrounding components solder not melt? Just they need to get to like 200-300 degrees, so it just doesn't spread heat fast enough. It will do if you keep the heat on long enough. It will spread. SSDs are so expensive because of all the AI data centers. Pretty much that's why everything's going up in price. So use some toothbrush. Retro 6.7, no, we don't. We have microprocessor on that board. What are you doing? Game Gears. Don't know what we're doing in a minute though. That is, yeah, the VPCB is exactly the same size as the original. Yeah, if you're tech support for other people, what do you call when you need tech support? It's a good question, though. Right, and so now, question is, I can't get hold to see if we need. I think we need to build another VPCB. If not, we'll quickly maybe look at a Lynx. When booting GG on V4, I get a J green screen with no boot. That is more than likely the Z80. Solder we don't sell at the minute just because we can do it. You just can't sell leaded solder to people that don't do it for some kind of business, but all you need to prove to be able to buy it is either have a business, literally just a business registration, have a website where you do repairs or sell something that you'd need it for, or a receipt to a commercial place. So I've looked into all the rules to do it officially. So I should be able to sell the solder soon. It's just I've got to make some code to be able to support doing that, basically. Right, so power's been put into the wrong port. So I'm guessing sound. Headphones. So it's going to have gone into the comm link, or I'm going to say the headphone port. So they put 9 volts to the headphone port. That's not going to be good. So they paid for diagnostics, and I guess we start there. So I'll see if I can do anything about this. Anyone looking to create a new board for Lynx? Not at the minute, but people are... Obviously, we seem to be getting quite a lot of Lynx questions and Lynx requests for products at the minute. So we already make the CleanScreen. I think somebody asked about the Lynx CleanScreen V4 earlier. Wrong tip on that. I'll be making the V4 version pretty soon. Probably the very next product to come out will be the Lynx CleanScreen V4. What solder you use? I use Solder King again. We sell Solder King stuff, so but any leaded solder's ideal. Lead free you're going to struggle with. Even I struggle soldering with lead free. It's not ideal. So let's get this out first. I was going to plug this in, but obviously we don't want to plug 9 volts in the Lynx. We're meant to safe boot it first to see what damage has been done. Right, so that's that apart. No visible signs of damage. That doesn't mean much. So let's get some voltage. Now there's a page on the wiki on how to power this up, which, if I remember rightly, probably check my own wiki, but I'm pretty sure it's injecting power on the bottom of the output here and ground on here. In fact, we can just do 5 volts on the battery spring and ground on the I can't even remember. It's been that long since I've done this. I wrote the article and can't even remember myself now. Let's take a look. Safe boot for Lynx. Lynx I've got was supposed to recap for. I got it. Oh yeah, I definitely don't plug in a Lynx without checking. Like, you need to safe boot them, really, all of them. They're a terrible power design. So we go to my own guide. You need a game for it to boot. Wow, I didn't do it. Oh, I did do a TLD. I was going to say I can't be bothered. Remove the speaker screen, blah, blah, blah. Short the thing, or put a game in. I'll put a game in. Apply 5.5. That's not what I want. I want the bypass. I want the lazy method. Seriously, where's my super lazy bypass thing? Huh. In short, use a bench power to apply ground to the metal shield, solder point, shield, and 5 volts. And then in brackets, not well. When I made this new wiki, I obviously lost a lot of my data. Where's your voice AI to ask and search the wiki? It is here. This is actually a full, not even that. This is something I'm working on in the background that will allow you to, like, subs will be able to use this soon, like start a new chat and kind of go, I have an issue with a Game Gear not getting to red light boot. This is my current test. I don't think this is even wide up at the minute though. Yeah, Rusty's asleep. I'm in the middle of updating this code, but what you'll get is like questions and feedback and answers, and it searches the wiki and searches knowledge that I've put in, and I'll be training this model up. So this will be like a full AI, but local AI. I actually own the machines to do all the AI. But yeah, I've lost a bit of info there, but it's going to be 5 volts on the battery spring because it's got a common, the way that the Lynx works, and the reason it's so bad is it's got a common positive rail. So we have, in this case, 5 volts on the positive of the battery spring, and then the ground is what isn't common. So you have to bypass the ground. So if you're going to inject voltage, this is how we do it. I need to update that wiki though, because with not doing it in so long, I couldn't even remember myself what to do. So game in, otherwise it won't power on. And then now we can just tap on there. We need to hear audio though. So let's get my knackered speaker. I don't even know if this game is going to get audio. Ooh. There we go. And I need the, what game on Lynx normally makes the audio, because some games on Lynx won't make audio. Gates of Zendocon. That makes audio, I believe. I'm pretty sure it's going to be, obviously, dead. At least the power circuit is probably dead. This is bypassing all the power circuits. So if this worked, this is because just the power circuit's dead, which would be a nice thing. Power draw is normal-ish. We're getting nothing on that, though. So, which is not a good sign, because usually, these are my Lynx games. It's just the power circuit that blows if you're lucky. If it's not the power circuit that's blown, then you're usually unlucky, because that's going to be an entire new Lynx ASIC, which is not cheap. Can't find my Lynx games. Well, some of them. What's this cable? SNES cable lying around. Chips is the one I know kicks in with audio straight away. That's what I'm trying to find. Ah, there you go. The one in another tub. So I know for a fact this one boots with audio straight away. And we could plug a screen in as well and check for screen. But the fact this isn't booting is not a good sign in one way, unless the audio is bad because he has plugged in audio. So we might be getting a screen right now. So what could have happened is it could have blown the... Oh yeah, and I should say, be careful because there's like 1,000 volts right there. Maybe should have started with a little warning in case people are following along and testing this way. Let me plug the screen back in and we'll see if we get screen. So what we might have is a bad power circuit and a bad audio circuit, but everything else is fine. That's what we'd hope for. Oh, I hate the Lynx ribbons. Right then, that's in. Game is in. Five volts on there. And then tap on here. And do we get chips on screen? Now we've also got a contrast wheel, which is doing nothing. So, I reckon. Ooh. There we go. That's what you call 11. So that's a sign the audio amp is a bit overkill. We should just vibe that. Oh yeah, I'm just clipping the crap out of the audio, I've just noticed. But screen is fudged. So, well, I say that's working. We may have a bad Susie or Mickey chip. I have known it where the screen won't work because one of the chips is bad, and that's on the wiki somewhere as well. But it might just be a bad rib, and I'm just trying to forcefully push that in a bit further. And let's hope this then shows a screen. No, I think his screen is capo as well. Let's see. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, quite a bit of damage on here. Yeah, we can plug in a CleanScreen. That's the next thing coming up. But obviously we won't be fixing this one today because he's paid for diagnostics and no parts yet, I believe, because he wants to see first the level of damage and if it's worth going ahead. But the fact that we have game audio as a positive, if we prove that we get video, then it's going to be a problem with the screen and the power circuit, and we know that. So then we can give him a price for the complete fix, basically. So let's see if CleanScreen works. Actually, I need to also test that screen here. We've had somebody buy a screen and return it, so I've got to test that works before we refund. But of course, as people do when they return things, they've fingered the board, then just returned it for a full refund, saying they haven't used it. But at least if it's working, we can clean it up ourselves and use it. And that's a clean one. We don't need the button ribbon, we don't need the bracket for now, but we do need this. So this is how easy it is to test a CleanScreen on a Lynx. You just plug that in there, which I always forget which way it is, that way. Plug that in and plug this into the CleanScreen. And then we can test, that's it. Wire-free install. The hardest bit's actually just plugging the ribbon in. There we go, ribbon in. Backlight test switch down here to the on position. That's it. And now, do a bit of origami. And there we go. Alright. So that's on there. Power on. We won't need the crazy audio now. And let's see. Hopefully we get some chips on the screen. Oh, not good. So that looks like he has probably killed one of the main chips. I've seen this before, where basically you'll still get it turn on, but you won't get anything on screen. Oh, I don't know. I think I saw something flicker then. Maybe I just didn't wait long enough for it to load. No, so there you go. So game's loaded, nothing on screen. Yeah. So unfortunately, I mean, yeah, that's the point. You do you need, like on the guide, we remove the inductor to stop the high voltage. But I'm wondering why I do that on this. Let me look at the schematic, because Lynx, like, obviously we advise removing it anyway. I'm just wondering what that does when you don't remove it, like I've just done. I am getting hungry. Right, so, this is high voltage stuff that we haven't removed. So we should remove this to disable the high voltage. Instead we didn't. So the high voltage goes over into VSS and VDD. We don't connect to that in the CleanScreen. So actually, I don't think you even need to remove anything on the Lynx. I put it on the guide because naturally you don't want like mains voltage going to the connector. But on our connector, we don't connect to that pin. I'm going to have to check now because... Oh yeah, sure, that's a point. This is a screen that... The irony was, this has been returned and they said, I've realised it doesn't fit and I've plugged... It's got the same pin out as another screen, but I haven't plugged it in, so I know it's not the right one. So how much do you believe that customer hasn't plugged it in, but they've just measured and found out that it physically plugs into a completely different product? So yeah, that's a good catch actually. Let's go. Hold that, cover that. Anticipation. No, so still definitely Kippo. Interestingly, that one. Yeah, that's great on that. I'll also, just for good measure, let's just remove the overall protection on this. And let's bridge the fuse. Yes, it's kind of on the Lynx. There's a very basic debug circuit that works in a fashion. So it's not really advertised because it's not that useful. But oh yeah, don't get there. Just try for the Game Boy Advance. Just basically check the clean just AA fit in them. They must have made a new mold for the USB covers for some reason. I think the old ones probably made that many USB covers. Now it's like knackered. So I think they've remade the mold. Right, so that is, I don't know why I'm testing that, but that's just bypassing the overvolt protection because I'm bench powering it just to see. But I don't think that's going to change anything. No, so nothing on there. We can maybe reseat this ribbon. That's definitely in. Yeah, so the debug mode, there's a switch on here, down here, but it's not actually, it's meant to have had a pull-up resistor on that I forgot on the design. So, in fact, is that even on? That way. So, flick that on and then power up, and this will just show then a test border screen like the Game Gear V3 did. Which it actually isn't doing. These definitely programmed. These Lynx ones.
Yeah. Well, they've just been got out of their tub. Not there.
Yeah, they're not programmed.
Both of them.
Yeah, I'll try the other one.
Because one of them's going to be in-game for the wrong links.
Yeah, that won't matter for boot. The boot light's not even coming on. I mean, the thing is, I haven't removed the inductor, which I don't think, looking at the schematic, changes anything, but maybe I should remove that first. Is it it's the inductor on the edge of the board, and it not the one on the middle bit? On the Lynx too. L17. So that's off for now. So let's try another board. That one isn't showing, didn't have the orange boot light to say it's been programmed, so there's still hope that it's going to work. There's more than likely it will work, because it's rare that you get it where the screen doesn't work and you get audio. So I'd say let's go back to the old screen as well, the one that the other customer returned. I reckon all this was just no boot light. Yeah, there we go, boot light. So I bet this will work now. And this is the original return screen as well. No way, that's bad luck. Nope, no backlight on the other board. Turn that on. It's definitely definitely making us work for this. So I think this one will show. Yes, there you go. So working. This is obviously a Lynx one, so it's offset wrong. Right, so the issue is that board's unprogrammed for some reason. That return screen is fine, so we can use that. I'll swap that out for customer, brand new, and we will use this for our builds. So that's there. Right, so that one's blank, so you probably want to check stock as well. Just put in the program roll 5 volts and that light should come off, so orange on it, like, you know, the GBA is going to show. That one's blank. Right, so that's pretty much it for this one. That's the diagnostics on this. Let me just double check we don't connect that high voltage circuit anywhere, and that wouldn't have killed that board that I just plugged in, because we didn't remove the transformer. So that means this big transformer got power, which means we've got 1000 volts coming through here, going down here. DBL is not high voltage. That goes over through. Yeah, so the only high voltage is VDD, LCD, VDD, TPR, and TPS. So let's go to the Lynx CleanScreen. And on the ribbon connector here, 5 volts, H-sync clocks, the 4 data pins, and V-sync in. Yeah, so we actually don't need to remove anything on the Lynx. You can just plug a CleanScreen in, but it's just more guidance that we obviously tell people to remove that, because you don't want to be probing around. You don't want to leave 1,000 volts on the board for no reason. So you can just literally plug these in, no soldering at all. I'll get back to the customer on this one then. It's pretty much, the power circuit is almost definitely bad. That's why it doesn't power up for them. Otherwise, they wouldn't have sent this in. It would have been working. And their screen is dead. So they've somehow, well, yeah, however they've done it, 9 volts through the audio jack has damaged what looks like the power circuit, which is no surprise, but the screen is a bit of a surprise, but it's done something to the screen, obviously, because that doesn't work. So really the option for them is a CleanScreen, I think, and we can do I could probably do the clean power for free, because it hasn't taken much time to diagnose that. So we've got some funds, if you will, left over from the diagnostics they've paid for. So we can do like the power repair board. Well, not the power repair board now, it's the clean power upgrade for free, and then they just have to buy a CleanScreen. And I think we'll go with that. So I will move this one off to the side now until they get back to us, and then go from there. So that's it for this one, guys. I've got to crack on with some other work now, and then I'll probably be back on tomorrow. Might be another Lynx. Might have to wire up a Lynx 1 CleanScreen, which is unfortunately a lot of hand wiring. So not as fun and not as easy as the Lynx 2. But we'll probably do that tomorrow, and then if they got back to me, I can do this at the same time, do another Lynx stream, if you will. Have we done any switch lights? Yeah, we do. Well, we used to do the Pico Fly mods all the time, but we don't do many of them now. We took them off the site officially. I've got a switch in, so I could always do that maybe on stream. But that's all really just by request now. It's not kind of publicly on the site. Oh yeah, Rusty needs to spend that tip money we got from the chat. Right, that's it then, guys. I'll catch you tomorrow, I'm pretty sure.